You know this. Good morning. So here we are, and we're opening with transitions. So transitions to each of us have a thread of awareness, a thread of history, a thread of change. So just this moment ago, Katie was sharing, and then I hit record just to capture this, that your daughter was able to differentiate between her wants and her needs, figure out the feeling to match that. And what's the bounty and the beauty of this? Why would I say this right off the hopper? Because she's learned that she is safe to express her feelings.
Yeah.
Well, we should all just like trick Katie and Nick. I'm not negating that Nick isn't involved here. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What a beautiful moment to
Mm-hmm.
honor the freedom of life that you've allowed your children to express their needs, wants, and grow through. Interesting. So
I will say that I've been picking up more. It's like I'm at that space where I'm listening more to myself. So I'm able to listen even more to like what they're saying and how they're saying it. So I've kind of opened this new awareness of it's just like they always are saying something where I catch myself like thinking about it, actually hearing what they say, and I'm like, oh yeah. Like another one was, mommy, you never get up with me in the morning.
mm,
And that has been like this huge transition, that huge change of like, I'm just like, well, I'll try better. And I really took that in and I'm like, yeah, why don't you like get up in the mornings? You get to spend time with yourself. You get to spend time with your family. Like, what are we going to do today? What are we going to create? Because I always leave space that's just free time.
okay.
And then it saves time to go to the park, go for a walk. Sometimes it's me sitting and having a moment to myself.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really like before I would have never heard and taken in what they've actually said to
Mm,
like really focus on it and think about it.
beautiful. I would agree
Yeah.
with her. Right, because the more depth and awareness that we create within our own system as a human, right?
Mhm.
Our body's responding.
Yeah.
Thought, right? We have a thought, right down to the body, through the elevator, central nervous system, and we respond to that. And we
Yeah.
respond to it in a way that we've been taught to. What does sadness mean to me? What does sadness mean to you? What does sadness mean to your daughter? Right? Like that was the one
Mhm.
word. However, when you said that you actually heard her, well, you're
Yeah.
hearing it instead of your wound feeling it,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
it's interesting. I pulled my card while I was waiting for you, and I got three. So I was like, sweet. All
Mm.
right. So I'm like, got them laid out, and I'm looking at them. I'm like, okay. So armadillo medicine is about boundaries,
Mm.
right? And if we don't create boundaries within our own being and our own way of being through earth, walking the land, sharing with people, connecting with other humans, interacting with people at a store, if we don't have boundaries, we are a sponge for everything that's coming through us. And then in that moment, I don't know why my voice is going, but usually when that happens, something's going to go down. So when when you're listening to your beautiful child express her feelings, you can actually hear them
Yeah.
because you've done the work on your sadness, right?
Mhm.
And I'm going to put that in brackets. Sadness isn't bad. Sadness is allowed. Feelings
Yeah.
are allowed. We're a human being. And that's how we differentiate between safety and unsafety. I don't want to say right or wrong, but is this serving me or not serving me? So it's beautiful to understand that your way of being, and it's not where you came from, right? Like we've all been on this healing journey for a few aeons. You would have never heard this before.
No.
Heard this before. Yeah.
No.
So the lessons are setting up what are we willing to experience? What am I willing to experience? Because I'm in service, right? But I'm not their experience. I'm there to support and assist their experience to move on. You learned how to express your voice, your feelings. You learned how to understand what your emotions meant to you. You learned how to be able to sit with your sadness without it tanking into depression.
Yeah.
Okay? What I found interesting about this last few weeks, and the listeners may be wondering, why has there been such like a big spread this time? Well, Katie and I got together like we normally do, and when I went back and I didn't watch it all. I still haven't. I only watched half of it. But I am like, what is the energy pushing you so fast right now? It's like I was running away.
Interesting.
Right? So I said I would send it to you and I will. However, I've sat with it because I'm like, okay, I will admit this. I will say this. I didn't like I didn't like me that day. I didn't like how I was talking. I didn't like how I looked. I didn't like, even though the conversation was gorgeous. It really was. It was. But it was almost like the frantic, unmet needs of old Rachel. And I don't want to say old, because, I'm not old, but the unconditioned part of me was rising in that experience. And maybe she needed to in that breath. However, I've been working on why I didn't like her. I didn't, and didn't like is such a strong word because that's not my language. That's not my words. I was excited. I was happy. I was exuberant. I was going to $1.50. I got in trouble for being that way in the past. I was told to settle down, knock it off, be quiet. And there I was. And that little girl in me, for some reason, the conversation we were having in that breath was what brought her up. Kept bringing her to the surface. And what was Rach doing? Trying to be the professional and keep the video looking like we're like, number one podcast on the planet. And you could see me. And
interesting.
It is. It is. Wow. So I wonder what you're getting from what I just said. Right? So we find beauty in our healing, which is why I can share the truth live. Don't care who may or may not resonate with my words, but it's true. Our lessons are, what are we willing to experience? Am I willing to experience shame one more time? I've been thinking about this one particular one, shame. Shame holds us.
Yeah.
Shame can make us hide from life forever. So at nighttime, I get up and pee a lot. You would think I'm the pregnant one, right? Like really. But I keep getting mad at myself when I get woken up and I'm like, this is me, like, this is so pathetic. And I'm saying to myself, why are you talking like that? Like, it's 1 a.m. Yeah, you're tired. Yeah, in 5 hours you're going to be with Katie. Like, my thoughts are going away. But then there's this other programming that's running at the same time that is giving me shit, that is yelling at me, that is mad at me for waking her up. So I have a wound surfacing during my dream state, and I caught it during the night. And I'm like, why are you feeling like this? This is shame. This is what shame feels like. When I allowed myself the quietude to just reflect on every breath while I was moving through that feeling of shame, in my language and in my understanding, it allowed me to go back to a moment where, as a small child, we make mistakes.
Mhm.
We say things, we do things. But what I found was in my feelings, just during this experience in the last 12 hours, was I'm holding shame for something that I watched other adults do. Yet when we went and acted the same way and talked the same way, we were chastised, we were belittled,
Yeah.
we were made fun of to some degree if you're in some of the kind of family events that me and you have been in sometimes. And so I'm like, okay, so shame is birthed in a moment of unclarity when an emotionally vacant adult, that's how I'm going to say it,
Mm.
is making that, I'm talking real slow, is making that their moment to either bully or protect. Not sure, right? Because if you're protecting a child, would we shame them for their mistake or their misunderstanding? Generally, that's what it is, a misunderstanding. How can
Right.
we hold a child accountable? So to me, it's like a form of bullying coming in. I'm going to
Yeah.
make you feel small because I feel small. So let's rewind this.
Yeah.
Because you know I'm good at that. And let's go back to the start again. And I'm writing notes as you're chatting with me, and I'm like, ooh, yeah, Katie can hear it. She can hear her daughter's words. She can
Yeah.
take in those words.
Yeah.
And she can embrace those words to be the supportive role model
Yes.
that's required because you gave her the space to understand her feelings. Why would she be sad? I'm not going to say what was going on. But,
Yeah.
it allowed her to make the thought, have the thought, express the thought, feel the thought, and then decide where she is in that thought. And
Yeah.
she's young, like she's 3.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's beautiful to be able to create that foundational ability at that young, tender, beautiful age.
Mhm.
Because how we react in any circumstance has to do with our ability to be objective. And I have been tested this week, for sure. And so when I feel like I can't, no, I did actually. Yeah, I did. I did hold myself well. I did have boundaries. Boundaries are protection. And they say where you are and where I am, and everybody knows what we're doing.
Mhm.
I did express that ability to be objective and caring and kind. And
Mm.
what did it birth in me? Oh, I ran through multiple reasons to make myself wrong. And then I had a session with my coach, and she was just staring at me. And at first, the way she was questioning it, I was like preparing to be wrong. Like, do you hear what I'm saying? I was preparing to be wrong.
Wow.
And I even said that to her, and she's like, what is that? And I'm like, even when I was right, we were made to believe we were wrong. So anytime I have an experience with a client or a colleague where they're unable to express their needs or their feelings without, becoming overwhelmed and all these things,
Mhm.
in the past, I would make that mine and say, it's my fault. But no.
Right.
I am working very, very diligently on not taking responsibility for other people's actions,
Mhm.
right? Because I was not taught that it's okay to have the thought, think about the thought, express the thought, feel the thought, and decide who you are in that thought, right? So these
Right.
transitions that we move through,
Mm.
that ebb and flow, some of us call it shadow work still. Because, I'm going to be 51 in a couple weeks, and we come up against that denser energy the more times that we're willing to feel the objectiveness of life. I like that. I like that word. I like how it feels. Objectivity. Could be my new mantra this week. We'll see. So
It's
there's
just like adding to your conversation there, it's I mean, yeah, we weren't taught feelings, how to express ourselves. But yes, then you were also taught to like, and I mean, some of it's intentional, some intentionally, of checking to see how other people are feeling, to see where you're at.
right.
Because you weren't your own person. You didn't know how to be your own person. Because, you were talking about how, we watched how the other adults acted. And so then you're like, okay, where do I need to be in this?
Where would it be the safest to be in this? Right?
Yeah, right. So then, taking it to just conversations with other people, then it's like learning to not, you get to be you in each experience and you don't need to become something else that you're not. And it's really like, I'm still uncovering that because I think it was a few sessions ago in some chat we had, it was just like, where are you still like, you like being your shadow when you're around other people?
Mm-hmm.
Are you being somebody else when you walk into that room?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's really learning too. So for the example, like with my daughter, it was like, I'm just the supportive person here, that I don't need to, I'm still me in this and you can be you, and I am here just to listen and support. And I had a great experience on the weekend with that too. It was like, I'm here for you. I'm here for you, to support you, as your mother, and that's all I need to do. It's not about me. It's not about my own feelings. Like, this is for you. Which, I mean, it did bring up feelings, and it brought up my own work. And it's just like, I'm gonna work on that on the side. So I've been noticing that it's just like with certain events I'm attending, experiences, I'm present when I'm there, and then it's almost like I have like the letdown. It's like once it's all done, then it's like I'm with myself then, and I'm like, okay, it's like those feelings come out of from the past, from, oh, how do I even want to say this?
Take your time.
Um,
This is for us, and they get to be a
yeah,
part of our party. And
yeah,
they're
it's
like, what kind of party is this? Well, healing. This is a healing conversation. I maybe put that on the final.
yeah, yeah, because then it was just like, yeah, it really was kind of like that letdown, and it's sadness come up, a little bit of anger, like, why am I feeling these things? And it's like, okay, it has nothing to do with the experience I was attending. This is my own stuff. And that's where it's trying, like, not putting it out there on others. And it's just like, this is for me. And that's where talking about it, being open with others, um, you know, well, like my husband, mostly letting him know where I'm at,
Right.
so then he knows what's going on with me, because it was like, this has nothing to do with what we just did for the past 2 days. This is my own stuff that I'm able to share with him now and be vulnerable and say, this is what came up for me during that.
Oh, sorry. I kind of got happy there for a minute. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
That I'm able to share with my husband.
Yeah.
This is an issue for a lot of married couples.
Yeah.
Communication. Like, take a moment, love. Like, look at you.
I
Sorry.
know.
Like,
I
it's
know.
just like the fact that I can do this, Rach, is
Yeah.
fucking amazing.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's like we've been putting the work in to get to where we're at. And I mean, it's not all roses sometimes, still work in progress, but it just, but you can even share about the hard things. You can say where
the
you're feeling
bond.
with them. Yeah.
Yes. Because, oh, okay. I was about to say it
Yeah.
that way. Like, I'm gonna actually keep that. Why? Because I would not want to imply that. Okay, I'll say. I was gonna say aware couples can do that, but that's not completely true. That's not completely true.
No.
Not that there's anything lied here. It's just you and your husband have put in the work, have done the digging, have done the connecting, have have agreed in conscious communication that this is the way we live and this is where we're going and this is what we're going to create and da. That's not to say that quote unquote unawoke couples don't have a communication style that serves their relationship. It's just that you and your spouse decided that, you know what, we're going to drop all of these chains. We're going to drop all of these protections because we really want to be a connected couple. We really want to be able to move in the ebb and flow of energy and life. Oh, that was nice. I had a little ding in my office here, just out of the blue. So thank you. Check mark that, right? And can we go back to that moment where you had just like a flush of love or vulnerability? I'm not sure what you want to call it.
Yeah, it was just like I did for my daughter, like my husband did for me, because he was able to just listen and support.
What do we call that feeling you're having then? Instead of me labeling it, I want you to say, this is how I feel.
Like it was like acceptance, just acceptance with,
ooh, yes, baby,
where I'm at.
Well, acceptance is the fourth need of the heart, hun.
Yeah.
And you know, we're all running around. Well, okay, not all of us, but in the past, I was one of those ones running around thinking unloved, unworthy, unwanted, Guess what's happening? So everybody knows who pays attention to me that Rachie is always on a journey, digging, clawing, creating, being, having, doing, blah, 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 right? So in this next week, I'm probably going to publicly announce the expanded move again, right? Like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it. However, I'm moving from 1,000 square feet to 3,200 square feet. That's a big shift.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot of bums in a meditation pad, right? And I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of myself that I have manifested and created an opportunity.
Yeah.
But what's happening? What's happening? Like you can tell. I'm getting jittery and really nervous. And I have this big event plan, and I got a beautiful lady coming up from Southern Alberta to assist this weekend of connection and love. And you saw the flyer. Anyway, what's happening to me? My ego is doing everything in its power, and it's good. My ego is super good to create ways for me to hide and like little detour signs along the way. And every once in a while, there's a stop sign, and I don't listen to the word stop anymore. So I change it to a yield sign, and I'm cautiously looking. Right? I don't know how I got on the automotive train again, but I did. But what I'm feeling is, okay, so the yield sign isn't to create the fractal feelings in Rachel where she would like stop and do nothing at that point. Yield sign is my choice. Yield sign, nice. Yes, giving, yeah. How many yield signs did you maybe pass on your drive to get here, right? And so that yield sign is giving me an opportunity to make a choice. And the listeners are probably like, how the fuck did you get here? The choice is, let's go back to the start of the session with Katie.
Yeah.
This isn't her session, by the way. I just said that. It's our breakfast session. We're not going to do this every 2 weeks. We wake up, we have fun, we drink together, and then the day goes on. However, the yield sign for me now is like a marker. It's okay to have a choice. We came from no choices, or very limited ones. And the choices you were given are actually yours. They were theirs, and we did them. So now we have a choice. And that's absolutely 1,000% what your marriage is doing and your parenting is doing. So I'm giving myself a choice to step into the expanded space that I manifested, that I know that I can create loving experiences and healing opportunities in. But my ego says, are you worth it? And it goes to that word acceptance. And I'm teaching that right now in meditation. So it's just like, what part of you are you not accepting, Rachel? What part of you are you not accepting? Because the whole world doesn't know what you're up to do. Like, the whole world doesn't know that you're opening and expanding another store. They don't know that yet. Well, they now do, but. So the only person who's having the fucking problem with it is inside of me.
Right.
And so I have this dream, and then I'm almost to the doorway of the dream.
Oh, no.
And then last night, I wake up. I mean, I'm really having a good sleep. I'm saying to myself, you really gotta pee. For fuck's sakes, Rachel. And I'm speaking to myself like this. But that's not the language. That's the language that's given to me. So now I'm at the yield sign, and I can say, is this something I really want to do? Or is this something I'm expected to do?
Mm.
Because a lack of acceptance is a form of expectation.
Oh, nice tie around.
Oh, I'm good! I know.
Ooh.
This is why people really, really need to work with me. And that's not an ego at all.
Mm-hmm.
I met a lady 2 weeks ago. She's from Peace River. Not originally, but I'm excited because, you know, she's from Peace River and I'm making new connections in Peace River. Because, you know, COVID, I shut down, I went online, and I didn't serve Peace River per se. I served the world per se. So now I'm really honing it in, and not everyone wants to be on a journey as deep as this one. And that's cool beans, right? That's cool beans. I'm a lot, and I know that. However, she had a session with me, and she has a beautiful story, a lot of trauma, of course, and she texted me yesterday, and she made my whole day. She said, I don't even know how to put into words what happened. I'm like, that's okay, you don't have to. Because where we come from, we don't really need those words. We just have to honor the feelings. And she said she felt so light, so relieved, and she had the most amazing evening with her husband. And I don't mean like, you know, maybe they had a beautiful supper, they had a beautiful share, they communicated, they talked, and they spent the evening connected to one another. And I'm like, oh.
Wow. Yeah.
Hearts are full of love. Hearts are full of love right now. So when we find the beauty in healing, we find the beauty in ourselves. I need to sip my tea. Yeah. How you doing now?
Yeah, I'm connecting with the word acceptance because you had seen me last week and I had red face, you know, really inflamed skin. And it so you had asked me too about like, do you like unconsciously like already preparing or know something, but I'm not aware of it yet? And that's exactly what I think happened through the weekend. Because, you know, my face was still red, itchy, and it wasn't until after the weekend and then, you know, me acknowledging my own feelings from it all. And then it was the acceptance piece, actually sharing with my husband, talking about it. Then it's like that next morning I woke up and it was completely gone. So I'm just like, dang, like it's the power of our bodies, our mind, our, you know, way of thinking, because, you know, so you're explaining, you know, this language of how you're talking to yourself. You know, I was talking to myself, you know, of, gosh, my face hurts so much, and like what's wrong? And, you know, I was going through which there's one part of me that is going through the physical list, must be the dogs, must be the food, must be the new shampoo, you know, and I'm going through the list. And then there's the other part of me where I'm just like, oh, like, oh, okay, we know this now, you know? So it's just like there was two of me, and it's like I kept needing to kind of feed off of well, let's look for something externally as to as to what's creating my eczema, when it's like I know that it's internal because of the work I've done, because of how I have transformed my skin. Like I really have.
Yeah.
So then it was just like I knew it was internal, but a piece of me was still looking for that. Let's find something that's externally as to why it's creating this flare up in my skin, when it's like, but I know it's internal. So, you know, talking about like acceptance, you know, I'm talking about it with my husband, but it was me accepting myself and my feelings and where I was at. So I heard myself. So then that rolls into why I could hear my daughter.
Here's
Yeah.
my party.
Went full circle.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, that's fucking amazing that you said full circle, because last night my card, I pull my cards quite a bit, twice a day minimum. Morning and night meditation practice. Last night my card was salmon card. And the salmon energy, medicine energy, is go full circle. And I'm like, oh, look at you, look at you. That was delicious, because I sent a few emails out yesterday as well, because my schedule got all, I have a young client who I drive home, right? And I know most counselors and therapists don't do that, but I do. She had a sleepover at a friend. She got dropped off for her session. So then I was like, okay, well, I'll drive you home then. If you don't have a ride, that's fine. I have no issues with that. But then I'm like, I'm not going to drive all the way back downtown, because she lives in the country. So I just went home and did some work yesterday. And you know what's interesting is my old career had me cold calling, right? I cold call businesses and try and sell them a photocopy, you know? Sell them the line that I can make your life easier going paperless. Yeah, I laugh, Katie, because everyone fucking knows like I have stacks and scribblers everywhere because I am not paperless. But anyway, so yesterday I decided that I would start emailing certain companies, because I'm asking them to support the journal that I'm creating inside this women's event. And it's just a form of bringing people into that book, where you take that book home and that person is like, you'll read their name how many times, like, anyway, so I'm not sure why my voice is all decide to leave. I do know though. So I decided to start emailing companies and other businesses in Peace River, and ones that I know would benefit from being in this book. And I noticed that each email, I got fucking scared. Like, I was panicking because I don't know why I'm going to start crying, because I don't do this. Well, I do cry, but not in my professional world. So, sorry, Katie. Sorry, Katie. Ooh. Because I accept me as me, and when I share who I really am today, I'm worried that they're going to still look at me like the version I was yesterday. And so that's what you just mentioned, right? The voices in our head. And it's funny, because I said that to my client as well. And she goes, I don't understand what you mean. I'm like, I'm going to say it like this. Please don't mind how I do this. I'm like, there's Rachel 1 and there's Rachel 2. And which one is she to the party today, right? And you have a choice in that, but sometimes that choice is so overwhelming, because my dream is so big and I believe in that dream so deeply that I'm worried of rejection and not being accepted for who I am. I'm worried that the world will continue to look at me through the eyes and the lens of, and they will, like some of them will, right?
Right.
But it's about, am I willing to see me? Am I willing to see me? So every email that went out, it got a little bit easier. But I said to myself, this feeling you have, Rach, is the same feeling you had cold calling before. It's a form of, saying this is who I am, right? But where does this statement, this is who I am, take me to? Where does that take me back to, right? So, anyways.
Yeah.
Wow. I wasn't expecting that to show up today. Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, so lots of transitions moving right now, because we're stepping into an awareness, right? It's a depth we haven't been in. And the version of who we are in that is the gift and the fruits of our actions from all this work. But yet, we start each day, we're convicted in our beliefs and our ideas that this is the life we're going to be leading today. And then filters and threads of the past show up to say, hey, is this really who you are? Is this what you really want to be doing? Prove it, step into it and have it. Take control. Ooh, no, erase that. Go with the flow. Just go with the flow. And that's difficult for humans.
Oh, yeah.
We're all about checking boxes and squaring everything up and measuring. Right? So, okay. So the transitions of change through life creates our experiences, and how we react in those experiences is showing us the depth of objectivity and healing and emotional awareness that we actually are at.
Hmm.
Do you have anything else to add this
Yeah.
morning, Katie? Do you have anything else to add this morning?
No, actually, I'm just like,
I'm staring at your face. I didn't want to mention that. Because I see you every week. They don't, right? So
yeah, yeah,
I don't, I'm just like, holy shit, look at her skin.
yeah,
Great.
yeah. It's just
Yeah.
like, and so I do want to add one thing, there was that voice in my head of like, you can't show up to this podcast with your face like this.
Oh, I love
Because
you.
I know whenever my face would get inflamed, it would be like you have to hide. And I just kept telling myself, I'm like, you're showing up
I love
because
you.
this is life. Like, yeah. But
It-
it was
you're,
interesting, again, those thoughts that come in.
yeah, that try to take
Yeah,
our power away from us, right? I'm simply
yeah,
emailing companies, hey, it's Coach Rach, how you doing? Look at this. If you're interested, if this is a great
yeah.
fit for the company, please let me know. And in that, I'm sweating so bad. I'm nervous. They're going to say no. They're just saying no to an
Hmm.
ad rate. It's not you, but what you just added, right? Admitting that I
Hmm.
can't show up to my podcast with Rach because of my skin. And I'm
Yeah.
saying I can't show up for my business because of a lack of worth. Oh, we are beautiful.
Hmm.
We are beautiful. We're change makers, we're healers, we're shamans, we're doing the work, and I'm proud of this connection with you. So proud of this connection
Yeah.
with you. I love you so much.
Me too.
You have a great day, and I will see you again.
You as well.
Thank you.